My name is Elder Fred H. Porter, pastor of the Missionary Church of God in Christ and CEO of the Texas Christian Television Network and the Missionary Church of God in Christ Television Network. And I welcome you to the 165 Community Forum. The 165 Community Forum is a community forum that brings critical point issues to the people for us to discuss, consider, and give feedback on. Today, if you are following the news, our President Donald Trump, attacked the nation of Iran with Israel. Now, it is very important for us to understand why our president and Israel and many of the people in the Middle East have a problem with the nation of Iran. One of the things that I want us to consider is why were the Iranian people in the nation of Iran and in America begging the president and Israel to save them from the regime that has ruled them for 47 years with an iron fist. Now, the Islamic Republic of Iran holds election regularly, but they fall short of the democratic standard, partly due to the influence of the hardline Guardian Council. Now, time will not allow me to go off into the Guardian Council, but it is an unelected body that disqualifies all candidates it deems insufficiently loyal to the clerical establishment. Now, ultimate power rests in the hands of this country's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Now, it has been reported that this man has been eliminated. Now, as a Christian, you want to feel for people that die, but we have to understand that this man have murdered in the number of 30 to 100,000 Iranians. Now, I'm saying 30,000 because of the protests that has been happening in the prior months, where the people were, actually fed up with this regime. Now, it is very important for us to understand, here in America, we are used to having our political rights. The women are used to having their rights after, the women suffrage. But here's what we have to understand. Under the Islamic law or under Sharia law, women must wear hijabs. That is the face covering, okay? And maybe 3 or 4 months ago, there was a young Iranian lady that was in Iran, and she decided that she wanted to take this off. This young lady was brutally beaten.
Let's talk about the protests in Iran. They have to do with Mahsa Amini. If we can get a picture of her, I want to show everyone what she looked like. Here she is, a 22-year-old girl, prime of life. She's coming in from Kurdistan, Kurdish part of Iran, visiting her relatives, traveling with her brother. She gets off, I believe, a bus station or train station, and is then arrested by the moral police for how she's wearing her hijab. Yeah. She's got it on. She's trying to wear it. She's just, according to them, not wearing it properly. And within 2 hours, they have beaten her so severely. Here's the scan that was leaked. Hackers got into the hospital scans. They found a scan of her brain. And there you see the extensive damage caused, that she was beaten so severely and so many times that it caused her death. And then here's the unbelievable lie coming from the government that she had some kind of sudden heart attack in the police station. And they don't know why she collapsed. It had to do with some kind of medical condition. Well, the medical condition was they beat her to death. So now we're seeing protests inside of Iran.
Yeah.
So how are these demonstrations now different from previous ones?
Yeah, I mean, it really just touches to the core of the entire nation, Gordon. I mean, just imagine you, as you mentioned, you come to another city, you come to visit your family and your loved ones, and just because you're not completely veiled, that your hair is not completely covered. I remember several years ago being on the streets of downtown Tehran, interviewing this very young lady, very beautiful young lady, and because her scarf was over the middle of her head and she was showing so much of her front, a man just came from right behind, during our interview, came from right behind us and just yanked the scarf right over her head and in Farsi said, "You should cover your entire head." And this young lady, 21, 22 years old, shouted back at this man and says, "Don't you dare touch my hair. I can do what I want to do." And years later, this continued agony, this continued frustration in the midst of all the economic challenges that Iran is facing, this young lady, 22 years old, Amina, loses her life over a scarf and the fact that her hair was not completely covered. And today you're seeing the results and you see the images. It's quite dramatic. I mean, I've never seen this kind of images of Iranian men and women going to police cars, burning down a police station today, attacking police officers, those on motorbikes, hitting them. You can just sense the frustration and the anger that is palpable on the streets of Iran today over a very simple thing that seems so innocuous, but yet it is at the core of their culture. And today Iranians are fighting back. Remember, it's the granddaughters of the grandsons who are fighting against their grandparents, the mullahs, those who ushered in the 1979 Islamic Revolution. And they're saying, my goodness, please, why are people dying? Why are people being arrested over such a simple thing that seems so archaic?
We've seen protests before. The Green Revolution was the most significant one. In that, the government unleashed their own military. They had snipers on the rooftops and they started shooting people. Then they imposed an internet blackout throughout the country in order to stop organization. I'm hearing now that there's a power outage, that the government has shut off electricity. What's your prediction on this one? Do you think we'll see a change in the government, that finally the prayers of people around the world being answered, that this theocracy would be overthrown? Are we going to see that, or are we going to see more crackdown?
I got a message overnight from a source in Tehran, and this person said to me, "George, we are all alone, and we don't have weapons, we don't have guns, we have no way of fighting back. All we have is our heart and our hands." And the reality is that as you see these images of these brave young men and women attacking police officers, burning down government buildings, going after police officers, the crackdown is going to happen because it's inevitable. They've shut down the internet. WhatsApp is down. Instagram, which is very, very popular and has been allowed to thrive for quite some time, is off. They have no access to that. Twitter is also down. And so when you see these kinds of images, the response from the authoritarian regime, the leaders of the government, is to crack down and to crack down.
Now, I'm saying all this for us to understand the reality that is happening in Iran. We need to pray for the Iranian people. We even need to pray for the Revolutionary Guards, because we have to understand, in Christianity, God tells us that all souls belong to Him, no matter how deceived they may be. So my desire is to encourage you to pray for the nation of Iran. Pray for the men and women of the United States Navy, Army, and Marines, the Israeli soldiers. Pray for them. And most of all, pray that Iran gets free. Again, we thank you for joining us, and please pray for our brothers and sisters in Iran.